Hello and welcome to the SamMobile Podcast. I'm your host Ben from SamMobile, and welcome to episode 16 of your weekly SamMobile Podcast, where we give you all the latest news in the world of Samsung, and we are pretty much going to get straight into it. It's official. Unpacked for August, for summertime, is now official. We know the date, and we pretty much know what products are going to be headlined. And also, we're going to be discussing Qualcomm's new wearable chipset, what that could mean for actual performance and battery life for wearables going forward on Android devices, especially when it comes to Galaxy. It is going to be a Ben solo podcast for new viewers and existing viewers. You would know that what that basically means is there is no guest. It's just going to be me. So I'm going to do my best to hold it down. But as always, as we like to say, get your popcorn, get your meal, get your drink, because as per usual, it is going to be a good show. Okay, let's kick things off. Yes, episode 16. We are getting on with the podcast a bit now, which is good to see. But yes, it's going to be a Ben solo one, so I'm going to do my best to hold it down for you all. Episode 16, I'm back in the UK, so I'm a bit discombobulated. It's a bit of a late recording, keeping it to the end, but we're going to really discuss things because yes, it is official. We're going to dive into the first one, which is all to do with Unpacked. Unpacked is official. Now, this is the summer Unpacked. Obviously, we had an Unpacked event at the beginning of the year around February, as well as obviously around, March, April time for, the Galaxy S series, as well as the Galaxy Book series with their laptops and whatnot, and the tablets as well with the Tablet 8 series. But this time around, it's all to do with foldables by the looks of it. So we're pretty much going to discuss all the things that have pretty much led to this point. And no more speculations. We know what's happening when it comes to Unpacked. And Samsung's official date is going to be on the 10th of August. And we are going to be looking at that and seeing, where we are in terms of what to be expecting. So this was, we're recording this as of the 21st of July. Tomorrow, the 22nd, is when podcast goes live on a Friday. So anyone that's coming across this, definitely give us a follow, give us a rating, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on your weekly SamMobile podcast as well, especially for our video watchers on your favorite podcasts and platforms. It's interesting. Now we've finally been speculating a lot of things, but we can talk about what's been officially put out there and what we can expect to see when it comes to Unpacked. There's several things that happened that led to it, right? So, it was originally posted on the 20th, which would have been on a Wednesday. So on the 18th, right, apparently things had leaked out in terms of the event. I think this is something that happens more regularly than it should, unfortunately. And, it was something that was, posted in terms of the promo material for the invite and whatnot. So, yeah, take it all in. And this is one of the things that we saw. I think this was originally put out by EvLeaks. Now, when that happens, you are pretty much right around the corner in terms of what the announcements is going to be. And then, boom, here it is. We pretty much had it, right? So this was on the 20th, and this is the 20th of July. This was posted pretty much in the early hours of the midnight. And we had the official invite from Samsung. So this was, directly posted on the official newsroom, as well as obviously with their official, Samsung Mobile Twitter account. And yeah, we had it, and it was pretty much for the 10th. So the 10th is what is about 10th of August. And that's when we're going to be getting announcements. Again, as stated, it was previously leaked. And, we saw what was the video of it here. So we did a reaction video actually, on the main YouTube channel, which if you've not been there, definitely, subscribe for that. I'll pretty much just pull that up quickly here so you can pretty much see it. So moving forward, here's what we pretty much saw. The trailer's about 19 seconds. It's not anything that's ridiculously long as such. We break down and we see the beginning. It's all the hinge that is showcased at first, which is interesting. So we're seeing this in a purple color. It's like a purple finish. Now it's much more flatter look in terms of the design from what we're seeing. There's a slight camera bump that we can see there as well. Apparently still going to be, dual 12 megapixel sensors, a wide and an ultra wide. When we switch it around as well, it's all presented in a very dark silhouette presentation. And then about the 8-second mark, you see it open up. You can see it's much more flat and slightly more angular than before. It goes into the unpacked cube and then obviously cleverly transitions. And then we see the date, 10th of August, and it says today, 2022. And they are really leaning into the flip being the headline device, right? It's something that is, and it says unfold your world, right? Now we know fold, really is, Galaxy foldable in that sense, but yeah, they are really showcasing the flip as the main device here. Now, there were some words also from Dr. T.M. Rowe. So he heads IM in terms of IT and mobile for Samsung Electronics. And, the editorial post that it says there is that the mainstream moment for foldable smartphones is here. I won't go into the full details of this read. We'll have it in the description so you can look into it. But it's all about lifestyles evolving. Samsung are really betting on people that have really embraced foldable devices a lot more than, people even were expecting themselves to do. And it's really down to the flip. Right, 70% of Galaxy foldable users turn to the flip to help them see the world from a different point of view. Right, flip users love owning a device built for self-expression, whether choosing bold options. Obviously, we know about the bespoke edition, as well as obviously the flex mode because of the flex hinge, right? So I feel like the focus on this, and they send at the upcoming event on the 10th, you'll see the impact of our innovation. That's not only about technology can do, but it's about what you can do. Once we've taken that inspiration, all right, most source, push the limits of what's possible. Okay, it's a very interesting place that we are right now. And I'll come back to this. And again, as stated, they are really pushing the flip as the star device. If we go back, I think the biggest surprise, this is the 4th generation flip. So you had a flip 4G, then you had the flip 5G, which I class that as the 1.5. Then we had the flip 3, which we've done coverage and reviews on the channel. And now we're going to be hopefully, as we assume, it's going to be called a flip 4. Now, what's very interesting is the flip 3 was a big defining moment for foldables, not just the flip, but just foldables in general. Why? Because at the time of announcement, when it was announced last year, August, pretty much what should be around the same time based on the 10th. I think last year was around the 8th or the 9th or something like that, 2021. At the time of announcement, the Galaxy S21 Plus, if I look at UK pricing, because I can remember UK pricing, was £949 base model, 8 gigs RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. Was the same price as the flip. Now, that was not the case with the flip 5G and the original flip, because they were in the 1400s, I think close to 1500s in terms of pounds. So the fact that they managed to consolidate and put things together and make it the same starting price as the S21 Plus, it really flipped up the, pun intended, it really just brought the conversation about of, to flip or not to flip, to fold or not to fold, a bit of Shakespeare double entendre there, but it's it really opened up that discussion, and it's something that we openly discussed and made several videos about on our main YouTube channel at sammobile.com. So with SamMobile TV. So it's going to be in the same position similarly again, because we do have the S22 Plus. So the S22 Plus right here is a case in point where it starts at the same price. It's parked around the same type of experience. And from what we're expecting from the Flip 4, this should be the case. Now, apparently there is meant to be a price increase. And we don't know if that's going to be exactly true, but there is going to be an apparent price increase. Well, I hope it's not the case. Wondering why there will be a price increase. I think that it might be down to the chipset. Now, apparently we should be expecting the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 in the Flip 4 as well as the Fold 4. That could be the price. We don't know what other improvements that we're going to be getting to things like the camera. Apparently there's going to be a battery capacity increase as well. there's different things to consider where we're going to go in terms of the price increase, if there is one. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, we're in the same price point as the S22 Plus, 949 UK pounds, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. The Fold is going to have a better chipset. It's going to have a better chipset. We don't know what the battery, we don't know what the display tech is going to be like in terms of improvements there. Hopefully a brighter display. I don't think it's going to be able to crank up to 1,750 nits like what we get at the S22 Plus. Maybe 1,300 like on the S22. Maybe it's going to borderline be around there with a high brightness mode rather than sustained. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. You know, is the battery capacity going to be 4,000 milliamps or is it going to be 3,700 milliamps? Where are we going to be sitting in terms of that? The Flip will most likely lack DeX support, you know, the desktop experience mode that we have on the flagship phones. You know, that's going to be more reserved for the Fold, because that's more going to be that the productivity powerhouse, whereas the Flip is still going to be positioned as the lifestyle type of product, right? It's going to really continue that round two. This feels like a round two of, would you fold or would you want a traditional solid state or would you want the Flip? And I think the case in point that Samsung are really, really betting on is the fact that they are building on the success of the Flip 3. The Flip 3 sold like crazy. 4 foldables sold really well. It was the one that really got the center of attention. It's the one that had the bespoke edition. And even for me personally, I had more friends and family coming up to me. And I even have a story, right? I had more friends and family coming up to me asking about the Flip series and whether to get that for their next phone or actually get their standard phone because they just really liked it. Most of them, especially when you come to the Flip, was more on the female demographic, funny enough. But still, it's one of few phones in a long time where I've seen my normal friends and family that are not into consumer electronics like myself really, really interested in taking it just because of not just the form factor, but the size of it, how it gets compact, and just, you know, the feeling of how it took them back to the phones that they used to do, right? And then also functionally benefiting from a hands-free experience when doing video calls, for example, right? It was a very, very, very interesting take. Now, I'm going to flip the script again. Another pun intended that. This trailer showed nothing of the Fold 4, right? Or the Fold series. We can only assume, right? We can only assume. I'm more team Fold. I am definitely more team Fold, right? I'm all team Fold all the way. That's more me, right? I love the productivity. If I wasn't in such a privileged and a rare exceptional person where I'm luckily nearly getting all the latest phones to use month on month, I would stop and use a Fold and just be a happy bunny. Yes, there are some shortcomings that we need to come around, but let's put it this way. I think since pretty much my birthday, back and forth altogether, I've maybe spent 6 weeks in total in Canada. You know, I spent about 3.5 weeks first, came back for a week and a half, went back, did some work, came, and, you know, my dad, like, he's into tech in terms of, you know, IT and computing and networking and project management and stuff like that, but he's not into phones. And one of the things he saw was like, man, you use a lot of phones. And I said, look, I use a lot of phones because it's just my job. It's my day job. It's what I do now, right? And none of them interested him until I picked up the Fold 3 and opened it and I showed him what it was actually for. I kid you not. The biggest shock to my life was literally the last few days. I think it marinated in. He actually was trying to sweet talk me to leave him the Fold 3. Now, mind you, I'd already given him a present. I'd already given him a brand new phone because I hadn't seen him a month for 10 years. So I had to upgrade mum from her phone. You know, I'm doing a bit of story time because that's what these foldables can do in terms of how truly different they are to your traditional phone. I think the concept of just having a normal phone that can become bigger, he was thinking of things like, you know, productivity as well as, you know, navigation and watching videos. And I think the Flex Hinge is what got him. The Flex Hinge is what's got it because he's based in Canada. There's a lot of family members here in UK that he still does a lot of video calls with. And just being able to have the Hinge pop up while having a hands-free experience when you're video calling. It's weird, but it's an expensive luxury to have, right? That's the power of the Fold. The Fold is just a productivity morphing juggernaut. But there are some things that I really hope gets addressed with it, although it didn't get showcased that much, man. Say what you want about the foldable form factor or not, and the fact that globally on a competition scale, Samsung are still in a league of their own. At this current time, the cameras have got to be better. If we can't get the cameras to be close to what we get on the S22 Ultra, right, it needs to be on S22 Plus level. It needs to be on S22 Plus level. We need a 3x zoom, right? We need the newer ultra wide, and we need that newer main sensor. You know, that 50 megapixel main sensor, it's got to be no less than that. It's got to be no less than that. The main thing as well that I would say, although it doesn't bother me that much because of this, the form factor and the nature of what the Fold is, especially when you're interacting with the screen, the crease doesn't bother me that much, right? But I showed this one of my guys in Toronto when I was passing through, and man, he hadn't seen a Fold 3 like in the flesh. And when I gave it to him, he was like, yo, that crease is very, very visible. And I said, too right, it is actually very visible. And again, you know, what you expect as a folding hinge, right? But not mentioning any other manufacturers, but some of the competition have come to really negate that a lot better than where Samsung are right now. The trump card for Samsung is of course that what they did with having, you know, S Pen support on the inner display was brilliant. Now, there was a lot of hooping and jumping around. One, the S Pen wasn't built into the chassis. Two, it needed a dedicated S Pen that was specifically made for the display, right? Meaning that you couldn't have a continuous S Pen experience if you had a traditional S Pen, right? Because it will pop up the notification that this is the wrong S Pen for the screen. And I get it. It's better to have it than not to, right? The special edition S Pen was a lot bigger as well. So it wasn't something that you could put into the S Pen cover case that, you know, you could buy for the Fold. It was a bit convoluted, but it was better to have it than not to have it. I think this time, if they can strengthen the glass on the display, so at the crease, make the display stronger so that you can use a normal S Pen on it, and the S Pen is actually into the frame of the body, even if you do keep the same battery capacity at around 4,400 milliamps, if I remember right for this one, I'll be very, 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 very happy with it. Next is continuation with the S Pen. Again, pushing it. The outer cover display for continuity, like for continuation use purposes, it would be good to have S Pen on the outer cover display, but to also benefit from the S Pen from the outer cover display, we need it to be wider. I mean, the current aspect ratio is 25:9. It's got to at least be 21:9. If we can get it as close to the 20:9 that we have on our traditional solid state smartphones at the minute, yeah, we're winning. But it's not just about the aspect ratio and the width of it as well, but also if we can get S Pen support there. That might be pushing it a bit too far, because I don't know how difficult it's going to be to put the Wacom digitizer into the outer cover display as well as the inner cover display with the thickness and the profile and the battery capacity as well. But this is Samsung here, right? Anyone that we're going to be expecting to, you know, push the boundaries, it's really got to be them. So the Fold still has a lot to do to justify the accent price that is generally over $1,500, £1,500, 1,500 euros. That's what I'm looking forward to a lot more. I know the headlining product is definitely going to be the Flip, rightfully so. The Flip caters as a lifestyle device a lot more than the Fold. And I always go back to my original trope of foldables. I always originally thought pre-2019, before the original Fold, you know, during the SDC, Samsung Developer Conference 2018, when they first showcased, you know, their Infinity Flex platform, as they called it, with their Infinity Flex displays. I always said that I think it's just a bit excessive having a tablet that can turn into a phone that can turn into a tablet. I've always just liked the traditional candy bar form factor, but I just want to make it smaller. I want to make it smaller, kind of reminiscent of the old flip phones that we used back in the day, right? boy, was I wrong when I got the Fold 2, man. The Fold 2 is still near and dear to my heart. Just the excitement that phone brought me and how much more productive that phone made me when it came to using my phone, right? And I've said this and I've gone over it over and over and over and over again. And especially with the lack of interaction with this crease, when I had the Flip 3 for a while and I was using it, the interaction with the crease was more annoying than I expected it to be. Was a lot more annoying than I expected it to. It bothered me a lot more than I expected it to do. And now for some people it hasn't, but for me it did. And it's one thing that deterred away from the experience. It wasn't the visual look of the crease, but it's the fact it was always on my thumb in terms of the navigation of the screen. So that's another thing coming back to the Flip 4. I hope that they do tackle, really making this crease less visible and less physically interactive. Whereas the Fold never really had that problem. Yes, visually, but, physically interacting with it, nah. I'm definitely excited. And it's safe to say that we ain't getting no Note device. We talked about this before on a previous podcast that the Note pretty much year on year will be living in the Galaxy S Ultra series. So I think they slowly built up to it. And I agree. The sales figures show it. I agree with what they've done. I think what this does is it gives an Unpacked dedicated to foldables, and rightfully it should be. I don't think foldables need to be interrupted, and they do need to be the main headline. Then you've got the S series with the spiritual successor of the Note during the beginning of the year, February to March period. Then obviously you've got you've got several key Unpacked events, and you've got, new laptops with the Galaxy Book series. You've got tablets within that period of time as well. And then at this time, going into obviously the end of Q3 into Q4, you've got foldables, which is all about. That's something that's I think that's really, really good. Now, we know the star devices are foldables. Again, they talked about Unfold Your World, right? Today, 10th of August, foldables being mainstream. They are really leaning into it. This is the 4th gen now. Across the board, we're getting into the stride of things. And whatnot. But if we count this time last year we got the Flip 3, the Fold 3. We got the Watch 4 and Watch 4 Classic, as well as the Buds 2. Although not showcased, should we expect to be seeing other devices? And I think, hypothetically speaking, we should say yes, because there's been a lot of rumor mills around the Watch 5 Pro and what that could be in terms of, the removal of the rotating digital bezel and the crown that's so synonymous with Samsung devices, right? I think we should be expecting other devices. Now, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt because, again, rumors are speculating. Well, not rumors anymore, but announcement is on the 10th. Usually, if we go through the usual pre-order period, the announcement's on Wednesday, 2 weeks plus 2 days. So it'll probably land somewhere between the 24th to the 26th of August, where these products can actually be purchased from the general public. Samsung have really strong trade-in offers, have great pre-order bundles as well, which, again, I think will be complemented by, the new smartwatches. Again, that will lead into our next topic. But I think will be interesting not. What I'm probably suspecting is we might get a surprise device category, maybe. I don't have any news or any rumors on that. I think we should be expecting maybe the Watch 5 Pro and the Watch 5 as the speculated names were of all the weeks that we've been covering, what the Pro could be. We talked last episode about how having S Pen support on a Pro watch device could make sense. It could make sense in different ways. If you're using a tablet, you're using a foldable or the S Ultra with a Pro watch, having S Pen support across all devices could be something that could be a clutch thing to have. But again, just throwing it out there just as a reminder. But potentially having a surprise device category, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But if not, we should be getting, again, a mirror image of last year's release, right? 2 new foldable flagships, 2 variations of wearables, and potentially new earbuds. Do Samsung need new earbuds? I think with the competition potentially coming out with their Pro noise cancelling, active noise cancelling, specifically earphones, we know Google from way back in I/O, with the I/O event this year in May the 11th, that they announced a slew of products. The Pixel 6a is pretty much on pre-order and it's pretty much announced, and embargo is lifted for it. We should be getting the Pixel Buds Pro, which is priced around £180, which with their noise active cancellation. And I think that is probably what's going to push, and rumors of Apple potentially having new AirPods Pros coming out as well. It's probably good for Samsung to slot something in there. So I think we could be expecting to see that. How that would be in terms of pricing, how that would be allocated, and what the performance improvements will be for things like active noise cancelling. Hey, we pretty much have to wait and see what's up. But I'm excited. I'm excited for Unpacked. I am excited for Unpacked. It's official. We don't have to speculate. We don't have to wait that long. Only a couple of weeks out, and we can pretty much see what these devices are going to be like, especially the headliner, which is the Flip. But for me, as I'm Team Fold, I'm really looking forward to the Fold follow-up to the Fold 3, assumably, called the Z Fold 4. And see if there's going to be some surprises to the expected performance and hardware improvements that we should be seeing. But watch out for all our reactions and all our coverage for Unpacked leading up to it, and on the day of announcement as well. As you know, we are the home for all things related to Samsung. We're going to be covering it, and I'm looking forward to it. That is pretty much topic number 1 out of the way, which is all in regards to the Galaxy Unpacked event for foldables on the 10th of August. Now, we're going to have a short water break, and we're going to go into topic number 2, the final one, which is really down to Qualcomm bringing out new chipsets for wearables, which has been a little bit while coming for them, what that could mean, and what these chipsets are, and what that can mean for Android wearables going forward, especially with their relationship with Samsung, what that could mean with Samsung Galaxy Watches in the future, maybe coming out now, and also just what that could mean. So gonna have a short water break, and then we'll be right back. And we are back. Hope you didn't go too far. I didn't. Just a quick 2-3 minute water break just to recharge, make sure that the throat is all clear so I can keep going. Let's drive into the final one, topic number 2, the final one pretty much for your episode 16 for the SamMobile Podcast, which is all in regards to Qualcomm. Qualcomm have been on a roll when it comes to literally being in the news in terms of chipsets, releases, refinements, re-announcements and whatnot. Obviously, the last major one that we had before was on their Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. The whole thing about changing the fabrication process to TSMC's 4nm process rather than Samsung's, and, the yields that they're going to be getting from that. Again, we should be seeing that in the upcoming foldables from Samsung from the 10th. But, this one we're really going to be looking at is in regards to the smartwatch chipset. So it says Qualcomm's 4nm smartwatch chipset is here for Samsung's Wear OS supremacy. Okay, that's a big one. Right, this was posted as of on the 19th of July. 19th would have been on a Tuesday. Within that time, I was traveling over 2 days, so traveling from Canada to UK. And it's all about it's all about Qualcomm. Basically, they teased these new chipsets last week, right? And they've pretty much unveiled them as of Tuesday. And this is the Snapdragon W5 Gen 1. The whole Gen 1 thing is a whole thing, right? So we've got the W5 Gen 1 as well as the W5 Plus Gen 1 chipsets moments ago. Obviously, by the sound of it, this is obviously going to be Wear OS's best medicine for the market for wearables. Interesting. Right, the company claims that this is going to deliver twice the performance at half the energy costs as to prior wearable devices. A black nothing is set in stone. Again, always got to look at real world what that really mean. Again, to clarify that previously the platform was actually based on a 12nm process, right, compared to the 4nm. So that's a massive die shrink node, right? So the performance efficiency there doesn't surprise if you're going from 12 to 4nm. Now, that's not to say we don't know what the performance parity is going to be for the W5 Gen 1 and the W5 Plus Gen 1 chipsets compared to Samsung's 5nm base Exynos W920 chipsets that we've seen from the Galaxy Watch 4. series. Again, apparently there's meant to be a dedicated co-processor and up to an extra day of battery life. That's big claims, right? Again, this is the main difference that we're seeing is that the W5 Plus Gen 1 is meant to have a low-powered co-processor. So you're looking at the Gen 5, the normal one, if there is such a thing as the normal one or the standard one. Apparently it's meant to be more for enterprise devices. So it depends on where that's going to be really be put. So it says all things considered, compared to the W4100 Plus SoC, the new W5 Gen 1 Plus might be able to deliver up to an extra day of battery life within the same 600 milliamp hour battery capacity, just from that manufacturing process alone. And again, that doesn't account for other components that could be using more energy and whatnot. And it says the Snapdragon W5 could be the response where a smartwatch manufacturers would be needing to compete with Samsung. Okay, right. This is going to be interesting. So what do we have here? If we look at the comparison, the previous Wear 4100 Plus platform was based on a 12 and a 28 nanometer process. Obviously, we've got that with the 4 nanometer process right now. Obviously, we got voice over LTE. You've got the clock speeds going up from 50 to 250 megahertz. Yeah, these are massive jumps. We're going from low power double data rate memory 3 to LPDDR4. You've got machine learning algorithm based engines that's really put in there, and the physical size of the SoC is smaller as well, which is really good to see. So 50% better, twice as fast, twice as rich, and 30% smaller in terms of physical space, meaning that you could potentially put, bigger batteries and, ideally bigger batteries, newer sensors, like the UWB ultra wideband chips that we're seeing in more newer wearables as well as smartphones as well. This is an interesting one. This is an interesting one. Now, the key is this. When are we going to see it? Now, based on the time of announcement, I don't think we'll be seeing this in the upcoming Galaxy Watch 5 series, the apparent Galaxy Watch 5 series that we should be seeing getting announced on the 10th of August alongside the foldables, right? I don't think we'll be seeing that, because usually for us to see something that's going to be in the product, we should really be getting an announcement no less than 2 months to 3 months beforehand. Literally, this is less than a month announcement before we see it. We might be wrong, but I don't think we'll be seeing. I think we will still be seeing the 5 nanometer Exynos W920 base chip that we saw with the Watch 4 series last year. But again, hopefully with better optimizations, and I'm guessing if there is going to be a Pro Watch, a bigger battery capacity that goes in there as well, which should be a very interesting take. This is good, I guess. This is good. I think for me, with a smartwatch, because you're dealing with a very, very small confined space, especially with the circular designs that doesn't necessarily fit bigger batteries compared to maybe the squared off smartwatches and whatnot. Anything to push battery forward is everything. I'll be honest with you, performance, there's only so much that you can worry about performance on a smartwatch. No one does speed tests, right? Smartwatches are really just meant to be an extension piece to your smartphone for notification efficiency, being able to tell the time more efficiently. Maybe the times that you go, especially for LTE models, maybe the time that you go out jogging and running, you can still have access to phone call abilities with your Bluetooth device and still be able to answer phone calls, check things that you would do in a short space of time before you get back to your phone. So that's just something to consider in that sense, so speed wise, it's nowhere near as important as the battery life. The battery life claims there with things like an extra day of battery life, that's more important. That's something I really, really want to see implemented. And what that could mean for actual wearable devices for the W5 Plus Gen 1, which, has the extra co-processor, with all the AI capabilities that should hopefully optimize with Wear OS and have the ability to, optimize better. I'm interested to really see that in action. I'm really interested to see that in action, which could be very, 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 very interesting to see. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. That is really with Qualcomm's latest W5 Gen 1, as well as the W5 Plus Gen 1 wearable chipset. I don't think we're going to be seeing it anytime soon, especially in Samsung wearables, until maybe next year, just based on the time of announcement. The claims are very interesting. It makes sense against their older platform, the 4100 Plus, but against the W920, I don't think the performance claims will be that far ahead of it. But efficiency claims could be a very, very interesting thing to watch. And I'm guessing this is probably going to be on Samsung's 4nm process. If not, they're going with TSMC again. Maybe they've been able to secure the yields and whatnot because of the time frame and when devices could be getting into it. But yeah, that is going to be an interesting one to watch and see how the real world claims, especially when it comes to efficiency, when it comes to battery, really caters to. That is pretty much it for your Ben Solo SamMobile Podcast episode 16 for the week. Hope you've all enjoyed it. Really, really appreciate your patience as always for tuning in and for us to give you all the latest news in the world of Samsung and pretty much wrapping it all together for you and just having a more longer form discussion. As always, we're always going to try and get guests and co-hosts that come and share their differences and also how they see things from the world of Samsung as well, which always makes it more engaging and a lot more fun. But for now, really, really thank you for tuning in. Make sure you give us a follow. Tune in and give us a rating on all your favorite podcasting platforms and give us any feedback on the things that you want to be seeing, discussing, and also for our video watchers as well. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos on SamMobile. I hope you're all safe during this time, but we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.